The clock struck midnight, and for the third night in a row, the abandoned house at Hollow Creek lit up for exactly 60 seconds before sinking back into darkness. No one in town dared to ask why. No one except Eleanor Price. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll learn why that single flicker of light was the beginning of something no one could ever explain. Before we step into Eleanor's chilling journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, because stories like this are just the beginning of the mysteries we uncover here. Eleanor Price was not a woman afraid of shadows. A historian by profession, she sought truth in legends and life in forgotten whispers. The townspeople warned her against the Ashcroft House. Some muttered of curses, others of voices that followed you back to your own home. But Eleanor's heart was built on curiosity, not fear. She arrived at Hollow Creek with nothing but her notebook and determination, ready to unravel the truth behind the one house no one would enter. On her first night, she stood at the gate. The mansion loomed before her like a scar on the earth, its windows cracked, its frames sagging under decades of silence. Then, just as she prepared to jot down her first observation, a glow spread across the top floor. A light. Moving. Alive. Eleanor held her breath. Someone or something was inside. She pushed the gate open, its hinges groaning as though warning her to turn back. The door to the house was ajar, the air inside heavy and stale. She stepped across the threshold. Upstairs, a faint shuffle of footsteps echoed. Then came a voice, soft, urgent, and distinctly female. "Leave before it finds you." Eleanor froze, her pulse racing. She climbed the staircase, portraits staring at her from the walls, their eyes clawed out as though someone had wanted them blind. At the top, one room glowed with faint light. She opened it and found a nursery. A rocking chair swayed gently, though no one sat in it. In the crib, a porcelain doll rested. Its sockets were empty where glass eyes should have been. She turned away only for a moment, long enough to hear the shrill, piercing cry of a baby. When she looked back, the crib was empty. The doll was gone. Subscribe to the channel if you're drawn in already, because what you are hearing is only the surface of the nightmare Eleanor was about to step into. Behind her, the floor creaked. A figure stood at the far end of the hallway. A man, broad shoulders, towering height, his face swallowed in shadow. He didn't move. He only watched. Eleanor whispered, "Who are you?" The figure blurred, thinned, and dissolved into smoke, vanishing into the walls. Every part of her screamed to leave, but her feet carried her further into the house. Down to the basement she went, following the faint hum of a woman's voice. The air turned icy. Her breath came in visible clouds. Against the damp stone floor sat a trunk. Inside, she found pages, diaries written by Margaret Ashcroft, the matriarch of the house. They spoke of terror, of a presence that whispered to her child at night, of her husband changing into something monstrous under its influence. The final page was a single chilling line. "If you're reading this, you are already marked." The ground trembled beneath her. The basement door slammed shut. Shadows twisted into shapes, their faces grinning grotesquely from the walls. The humming grew louder until it pressed against her skull. Then a whisper, so close it felt like a breath against her ear. "He is behind you." She turned, and he was there. The man from the hallway, no longer smoke, but flesh, his eyes hollow voids, his smile grotesquely wide. He reached for her. Darkness swallowed her whole. When Eleanor awoke, she was outside, sprawled against the rusted gate. Dawn was breaking. Her notebook rested in her lap. For one breathless moment, she believed it had been a dream, but clutched tightly in her hands was the diary. She hadn't carried it out. Days later, back in her apartment, she opened it again. But the words inside had changed. They weren't Margaret Ashcroft's anymore. They were hers. Every thought, every observation, even ones she had never spoken aloud. As she turned to the last page, fresh ink bled across the paper, forming one final line. "Now you belong to the house. The lights in her apartment flickered once, twice, then they went out. And so we are left with a question. Did Eleanor ever escape Hollow Creek, or had the Ashcroft House simply followed her home? If you dare to uncover more stories that chill your spine and twist your breath, subscribe now and press the bell icon, because the next time you see a flickering light in an abandoned place, remember, sometimes it isn't the house you're entering. Sometimes it's the house entering you.